Well, good evening, friends. Welcome back to the Castro Valley News live show. I see there are actually people listening. Wow, that just jumped fast. If you're not familiar with the show, we do audio only, kind of like an old school radio show. My name is Robert. For the lack of a better term, I am your host. And what we do every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. is we meet here and we talk about things that are happening in our community, things that are on our mind, and we walk away or run away from the depending on whether you like the show or not. We walk away or run away from the show, um, hopefully with a better sense of community and a sense of or a feeling that we're there are other people who care as much about the community as you do. I'm not going to dwell on that because I kind of I walked that line as far as I could. But anyways, like I said, it's kind of got the vibe of an old radio show, old talk show. Beg your pardon. So what we do is there's no video, just audio. Let me jump right into the roll call because a lot of people are coming in here. Karen, good evening to you. First should be Bob. Good evening, Bob. Hope you're doing well. Catherine is listening. Good evening, Catherine. Good evening, Kathy. Good evening, Ronald. And I want to give a shout out to Ronald and Karen, great folks who I believe moved from Castro Valley. And I don't remember what the story was, but when I was with the forum, I did a story and I got to meet Ronald and Karen and great folks, great folks. Good evening, Laura. Hope you're doing well. Good evening, Elda. Hope you are doing fine on this evening as well. And Dennis is in the house. Good evening, Dennis. What about this weather? Bob is mentioning he got his haircut this week after vaccination. Al Peretti says hello, told him about the show. He is not on Facebook. His wife, Tony, is. Al is awesome. Good evening, John. John is listening. Good evening to you, sir. Joseph says yo, and a yo back to you, Joseph. Thank you for listening to the show. Since Bob brought it up, and let me thank Bob for always keeping the current flowing in the show because sometimes we hit some road bumps and I stammer, and sometimes the list gets expired before before the end of the hour. Thank you so much, Bob, for being an awesome person and caring so much about the show and caring so much about our community as well. So Bob is mentioning he saw Al Peretti, and if you guys are not, you have to be familiar with Al Peretti. He is the barber who used to be at the Village Barber Shop, and unfortunately, I think it's been a year or so. The barber shop closed and Al has a chair at a shop called, I think it's Reflections of Hair, and they are in the strip mall, kind of catty corner to Trader Joe's, a few doors down from Los Moquetes, and I'm proud I said that right because I was worried right before I enunciated that I was gonna say it wrong. Enunciation is that's a $2 word. So before I enunciated that, if you get a chance, our barbershops, hair salons are open now. Throw some business their way if you can. It's been a long haul for all of us, but particularly for the hair salons that really have been just shuttered because of the shelter in place. So, oh my goodness, I totally train of thought derailed right there. Getting back to Al Peretti, Al is at Reflections of Hair over on Redwood by Trader Joe's. You will, if you really know Castro Valley, you will know that Al Peretti is the Charlie Chaplin. He does the Charlie Chaplin impressions. Al Peretti is also an amazing vocalist and guitar player. but that's a complete digression from whatever point I may have had. Uh, Shop local, shop the hair salons and barber shops that are now open with reduced capacity. I apologize. I don't know right off the top of my head what the capacity is for hair salons. However, I did hear on the news today. It sounds on the news today. That's like the Beatles right there. Um, that's two ums for people who are counting, and I'm really trying to reduce those because they annoy me as much as they probably annoy you guys. I think it's a sign of nervousness when you're talking, and I'm working on it. And thank you again, Bob, because you keep all you guys do. You keep the vibe flowing and darn, there's three. Yeah, the ums are a sign of nervousness, I believe, and that one doesn't count because I did it intentionally. But shop can't say it enough. Shop local. Getting back to the shelter in place situation, I did hear it seems like we might have another week or week and a half, and we may emerge into the orange tier in respect to the shelter in place. So John is mentioning his youngest starts school tomorrow at CVE. John, how are you feeling about that? Are you feeling good? Are you nervous? Are you apprehensive? How does your child feel about that? John is saying it's okay. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but I thank you very much for your support and your affirmation. Affirmation could be a $2 word. I'm just being silly now. I'm sorry, guys. So, Bob, thank you so much for always bringing things up and keeping, like I said, the current moving in the conversation here. And best to you, Bob. Is there anyone else who would like a shout out for the roll call? And our moderator threw something out there, Beatles or Stones, and we're definitely missing Don at One Bad Apple Records. I just gave him a shout out. Don, if you're there, throw a comment or it's I think a lot of times Don is doing drinking games for the amount of ums or words that are said here. Okay, let me get to the list here. So I think we've got roll call squared away. What do you guys think? John is mentioning his son is so happy. I can imagine that a lot of people. Tanya is in the house. Good evening, Tanya. If John is also asking where is Don, let me text him. If you guys can, um, that's a sorry. Let me text Don and see if he's going to be on the show. Give me a couple seconds of silence for me to text him and see whether. Can you guys hear me typing? Hang on, guys. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. Okay, just sent it. Thank you guys so much for your patience with that. So before we, Frank is asking, is Scotty's barber shop still next to Al's Market? No, there's no barber shop next to Al's Market, but Al's Market is still open. Bless Al's Market. Before I go on, I wanted to give a huge, huge, huge shout out to Tanya, who takes care of and started the community cupboard on Forest Avenue. I can't say enough about this amazing resource in our community. If you've never seen it, go check it out. It is remarkable the amount of food items that are put out there by Tanya and the amount of things that are donated by the community. If you're in need of food, there's always food there. There's a refrigerator that was donated by the community There's tons of cupboards. There's a little plant exchange there. There's also uh, um, per non-perishable items like beans and oatmeal. You name it, it's usually there. It's an incredible resource for the community. Someone messaged the page in a few days ago asking how we could do more recognition for Tanya. I'll try to reach out to some of the news people that I know and see if maybe they'll want to do a story. I'm not sure if Tanya is going to want the attention, but she definitely deserves the attention and tons of accolades, because I know for a fact a lot of times when I either go to the cupboard to pick up some items or to donate some, there's usually a lot of people who are picking up items, and it doesn't need to be said, especially with the shelter in place, that there's no shortage of people who are probably in need of a helping hand at this time. So thank you so much, Tanya, for all that you do with that community cupboard. I don't think community cupboard is it describes it well enough. It's really a hub of generosity, and it has inspired tons of people to, like I said, they bring plants. There's coupons. There's sometimes I think there's jewelry there, handmade jewelry. It's really amazing. I have a very close friend who lives in Walnut Creek, and I sent her a picture of the community cupboard with the refrigerator and all the new cupboards that have been installed, and she was amazed. She said that is the most robust and amazing community cupboard that she has ever seen. So that is testament to Tanya's dedication to our community and her neighbors, and I think that's awesome. Brenda is mentioning tomorrow, the 24th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Chipotle has a fundraiser for Castro Valley High School seniors, class of 2021. They've lost out on so much this year, so community support would be much appreciated. Brenda, what are they raising funds for? For events, for caps and gowns? Anyways, if you would like to support the Castro Valley High Seniors Class of 2021, Chipotle tomorrow, 5 to 9 p.m. And again, this year, I think we mentioned this last week. If you have a senior that's graduating, we'll be posting the senior photos again this year. We might even just post every graduating student in Castro Valley. Last year we did this the first time the shelter in place happened, when a lot of the students lost out on graduation and all sorts of other things. We shared, I think, 200 students from Castro Valley High. We even got Union City, we got Hayward, we got San Leandro. It was the least that we could do for all of the students that are missing out because of the shelter in place. And we can all reflect on when we graduated from high school. It was huge. It was it's a huge milestone for anyone. And let's do as much as we can for the seniors. Liliana is asking, I would like to know what happened with Beer Baron. From what I understand, they are going through the planning process of designing what the interior will look like. I have not heard anything about them backing out of the deal. Probably with the pandemic, there may be, darn, that's 5 ums. There's probably going to be a certain degree of delay on what they may or may not be doing going forward. But I did see a couple months ago, they had some interior designs on their website of what they think it will look like inside and out. I will ask our moderator to go to the Beer Baron website and find those designs. We shared them, or actually, if you can just do a search on our page of Beer Baron, you'll probably see the interior and exterior designs for Beer Baron. And if you're not familiar with all the information on Beer Baron, They will be occupying the former Spanky's bar site, which is going to be fantastic. They are essentially, they say that they are a whiskey bar, but they look more like a brew pub. They do have food, they have whiskey, they have, of course, they have beer, and gosh, it's going to be great to have some improvements happening at the Spanky's location. Nothing against the people who had Spanky's and ran it. I know one of the former owners. He's a great guy. He loves Castro Valley, but let's have a brew pub there. Let's have some beer baron happen in there. So there you go. Our moderator found the preliminary designs for beer baron. So let me, Liliana, give that a look see. In the meantime, I'll also reach out to one of the guys that I'm in contact with at Beer Baron and see if I can get a status report from them. But like I said, my guess is they're probably, if they have those designs prepared, it could be that those designs may be at the county level being reviewed, and I should probably not continue this conversation because I honestly don't know what they're doing, so I can't speak for them. But that's probably what's happening. They probably have those designs going back and forth with county planning department to see what may be good and what might not be good. John is mentioning he sees a lot of drivers stopping at the new crosswalk with light. Can't remember the street. It's actually Castro Valley Boulevard in Chester. It's right outside Dollar Tree, I believe. And it is working. It's working great. I did actually see, I was on the boulevard today. I saw someone crossing without pushing the button for the lights, and cars were stopping. Some of the cars weren't, but those things really work. And John, coming back full circle, I really wish we could get those lights at that intersection by the Ice Creamery, which, John, that's the intersection where you and your family were almost hit. If it continues to happen, we can bug the folks at county planning and see if county public works, and see if we can get more. There you go, Catherine. Also Chester. Brenda also responded. Chester by Dollar Tree. Those things work. Those things really work. Those lights that flash when people are trying to cross the street. They're bright, they're extremely visible. There is no excuse for any car to continue going through that intersection if you see those lights flashing and someone's trying to cross. Catherine mentions she lives on Chester. She loves it. I love it too. It makes that intersection so much safer. There was actually one morning I saw a gentleman who was on his bicycle. I was as well. And a woman with a stroller was trying to get across the street, and nobody was stopping for her. So this gentleman got off his bike and he was shouting, and not in an aggressive way, but he was shouting at the cars, "Stop! This lady's trying to go through." So it can be a perilous, to say the least, intersection. And also going back to the intersection that's over by the Ice Creamery, heading to the village, that one's been really problematic as well. Hang on, I'm getting some weird noises on my microphone here. I mean my earpiece here. Darn, that's 6 ums. Sorry guys. Liliana, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Like I said, I will email the individual that I know with Beer Baron and see if I can get a status report. Well, we've got a call. Hey Al, you're live.
Hello, Robert. Yes, it's me. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Fine. I just understand I'm supposed to give you a call. I was talking to Bob Weisman. He said, "Yeah, give Robert a call. See what's going on."
Cool. Well, I'm glad you called. How are things going?
We're going fine. Yeah, we've had big changes. The barber shops in the village is still vacant, looking for another operator, and I'm down there just with Kevin and I. Kevin, the guy that owns the shop down by Trader Joe's called Reflections of Hair. And just two of us. We're taking appointments and filling up our day. Or I'm halfway filling up my day because being a retired gentleman, it's just a nice retirement gig for me.
Good for you. And if people aren't familiar with who we are speaking to, this is Al Peretti, who is the Castro Valley Barber.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Well, there's a few of us around town.
Yeah.
And a lot of great barbers around.
Oh, definitely.
We're all taking care of this. There's enough business for everybody. So it's a nice community for sure.
Oh, definitely. How did your shop do through the pandemic, through the shelter in place?
Well, my wife Tony and I have talked many times about during this last year about what a mixed blessing it was that we actually closed the shop June 15th of 2019. 2019 was it?
Yeah.
And so we didn't know that COVID-19 was going to be hitting us, 9 months later, or 8 months later. And so if I had signed another, I had decided not to sign another 5 or 7 year lease with the management of the shopping center, just because I was getting in my 70 years, 70 plus at the time. I to back off a little bit. It was a great 20 years. I had almost 20 years at the barber shop there after the previous owner had run the place for 40 years, and he did a good job. And so I took over in 1999, December, and so almost 20 years later, we decided to close down. It was a decision because we needed to either, if we were going to sign another lease, it was going to be also required that we do a lot of handicap accessibility stuff, which I'm sure somebody will come in there and be happy to do all that. But if I was going to be, in the business there another 10 or 15 years, I would have been happy to do that. But I'll let somebody else come in and upgrade it at this point. So yeah, that's what happened there. So I took most of last year off, and then when the health department said we could go back to work, barbershops could open and hair salons could open, I went over and talked to Kevin down there at his shop down by Trader Joe's. He's always run a good shop. He had a good reputation. So, and he was happy to have me come on in there. Actually, the two of us from the old village shop went in there, and actually three of us. Myself, Al Martinez, and Ty Kemp. Three of us were there. Although the other two fellows, Ty and Al Martinez, are not there right now. But it's just Kevin and I. So it's good. It's a good retirement gig, and we take appointments. The health department requires that we take appointments, as a matter of fact. So
okay.
So there's no crowds, gathering around in the waiting area. Yeah.
Makes sense. I bet you guys are busy.
I was just going to say, I understand your new exposure here to the public in this broadcast is something kind of new, and I think it's really great. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to talk to you. I ride my bike in the mornings, and a lot of times I cruise by and I think I look for your vehicle, and I think I gotta at least peek in and say hello to Al.
Yeah. There's a dodo shop there, and the Molcajete is a Mexican restaurant.
They're great.
Nail salon next door. So
yeah,
thanks for the chat.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for calling in.
We'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you, Al.
Okay. And be safe. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. That was awesome. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Al. Again, if you guys aren't familiar with who that was Al Peretti, who is still the village barber. He's over at Reflections of Hair on Redwood, and they are in the same little area that Los Molcajetes is at. So if you wanted to, and you were inclined to shop local, like hopefully most of us are, you could get your hair cut by Al, and you could go get some great Mexican food over at Los Molcajetes. Great people, great family over at Los Molcajetes as well. Another great local business. Our moderator said, so good to hear Al's voice, and I agree. Like I said, Al was one of those people who I thought about probably weekly during the shelter in place, just because I've known him so long, and he's such an awesome person. So thank you, Bob, for letting Al know that he needed to call in. That was great. Thank you, Al as well for calling in. Before we go any further, I need to give special thanks to tonight's sponsor, which is Forester.org. They are a local Castro Valley nonprofit with the mission to reforest urban communities. You can learn more about them at their website, which is Forester, FORESTR.org. They are also the folks that you probably see at the side of the freeway on, I think, the weekends, picking up trash, picking up garbage, which is one of my passions as well. It's become one of my passions because I hung out with the folks at Forester for a Saturday, and in my area here, there's a long stretch of kind of open area that in the mornings I go out and pick up garbage. It feels good. I hope it doesn't sound corny or cheesy. It feels good. It feels good to improve upon my neighborhood and not have it look um, crummy, for the lack of a better term. John is asking what happened to Juan at Juan's barbershop, and I don't know. I don't know Juan, and I don't know Juan's barbershop, so I apologize. As I'm drawing a blank on that one. So with that said, we've got the sponsor out of the way. I'm just kind of consulting my list here and looking at comments. Okay, hold on. We got the sponsor off. We got the roll call off. I should add awesome call-in guest, which was Al. I'll put that on the list and cross it off. That was awesome. I'm so glad to hear from Al. Something that was brought up not too long ago. Some folks were asking for updated information on the tiny homes, and I thought I had the information at hand. Just bear with me, guys. I'm gonna have to open my email here to find that. Sorry, guys. I should have been more prepared, and I thought I was. I thought I had that here. Well, I obviously don't. Sorry, guys. While I'm trying to open my email to get that information for you, I wish I had a song to play for you, but I don't. So I do have an update for you guys about the tiny homes. And I was lax in my preparation. I thought I had a screen capture of the information. I probably deleted it thinking I was being efficient. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. So, if you're not familiar with what the tiny homes are, they are the tiny homes installed on the campus of First Presbyterian Church. They are at Grove and Redwood behind Trader Joe's. So, the update on the tiny homes, and this kind of blew my mind. They are just over a year since their first residents moved in, and they have had a total of 7 households move in, and 4 have moved on to long-term housing with the support of abode services, and they are working on filling empty units now. So that is good news. And the tiny homes are for employed homeless people, and they are tiny homes, but they are nice. They have a bathroom, they have a shower. But the good news is, it seems to me like they are working and helping people move on to permanent housing in the first year of having their first residents move in. and that's great. So if I don't have information on how many units that are empty, but if you're interested, you can go to firstpreshayward.com, and there's some information also on the tiny homes project, and there's also an email that you can email one of the folks. Her name is Shizu Buckaloo, and you can email Shizu if you're interested in getting more information on the tiny home program. And I'll give you their description of what the tiny home project is, which happens to be much better than my chicken scratch description. The Tiny Homes Project has built 6 mobile housing units in the First Pres Hayward parking lot to help homeless individuals transition from homeless to housed. These units serve as temporary transitional housing for 6 to 12 individuals. Residents are eligible for up to 18 months in their program, and when the resident is ready to transition to formal and long-term housing, they will have funds from rent paid available to afford a deposit on stable housing equal to the standard first and last month's rent of new residents. If you're not familiar with the program, I'm going to sound completely biased here because it's true. It's a great program. It went through, I think it went before the Castro Valley MAC 4 or 5 times. There was a little bit of pushback from some local business owners, but it went forward finally and was approved by the MAC, and it looks like it's working. So there's your tiny homes update. And again, one more time, if you're interested in learning more about the tiny homes, you can go to First Pres Hayward, that is FIRSTPRES Hayward.com. There's also an email if you are interested in, it looks like if you're interested in applying, you can email Shizu. I'll give you her email address. It's her work address. Shizu, CHIZU at firstpreshayward.com. That can give you some more information. Also, it looks like I didn't see on their website that there was a button to apply online, but I'm sure if you email Shizu, she can direct you to some information on how to do that. But thank you, First Pres, for that, for doing the tiny homes. I'm sure there's other people out there who watched or were at some of the meetings for the First Presbyterian tiny homes. It went through quite a few MAC meetings. There was a lot of discussion on it. To their credit, the MAC wanted to make sure that they were dotting all the T's and crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. But there's that. Let me see here. Just checking to see if there's any. Oh, going back to the roll call. Good evening, Julie. Julie was wondering about the tiny homes when she went to TJ's. And so I guess I'm just looking at the comments, see if there's anything. Oh, good evening, Eunice. Shout out to Eunice. Good evening to you. I guess we'll go back to the roll call. I gave Julie a shout out. I gave you another shout out, Julie. Hope you're doing well. I met Julie a bunch of years ago when she was working at Lilane Boot Camp, and Julie is awesome. I hope you're doing well, Julie. Looking at some of the comments here. Hey, if you want to text in or call, 510-331-9112 is the number. If you have a comment, confession, complaint. Brenda is asking any updates on opening dates for the new restaurants in the village, including Nick the Greek. Nick the Greek is the restaurant in Castro Valley that's coming that a lot of people are antsy for. They are waiting for it. I hear nothing but good stuff about Nick the Greek. From what I've seen, and I asked some of the construction guys that are folks, the construction workers, nobody has a date, but I can tell you, I think it was a week or two ago, they started cutting into the cement to make way for the kitchen that need to be installed there, and they're rocking it. They're moving along. I would say they might open in maybe a month and a half tops. And I think when Nick the Greek opens, I think we're going to see the village jumping again. It's kind of starting already. There's also, if you missed it, there's a dim sum, I believe it is a dim sum, and what else do they serve? I'm drawing a complete blank here. Next to two doors down from Eden Bicycles, kind of in between Eden Bicycles and the Hallmark store, which is closing, which is heartbreaking. There's going to be a dim sum and dumpling place, and the name has completely escaped me at this point. But more food places in the village, good stuff. Hopefully, the people who are out there buying food will go ahead and do some shopping or at Dana's Party Planet, or go to Aroma and eat, or maybe buy something, a gift certificate at Aroma, or maybe paint something at Aaron's Art Studio, or Leon is asking the location of Nick the Greek. That is going to be where Worldwide Art used to be. So that's kind of catty corner in between Ray Talbot's salon, across from Ray Talbot. Shout out to Ray Talbot. And next to Lord's, there you go, next to Lord's, and next to where Lime Leaf Tie used to be, leading to the comment from Brenda. Macaron, I think did I make that did I make macaron European or something? Or Macaron Shop Bakery will be where Lime Leaf Tie was, and I think the owner is local, so that's a win-win for everyone. So hopefully when we get all of these wonderful food eatery type places coming into the village, there will be cross-pollination of these shoppers to the independent places like Mel's Shoe Store. I think I went through this entire list last week. Dana's Party Planet. Who are the other? Robin's Nest. Wonderful. Thank you, Don. It's 88 Bao Bao is going to be the dumpling and dim sum place, basically in between Hallmark and Eden Cycles. And shout out to Bill at Hallmark, who's retiring. Awesome, awesome gentleman. And also a shout out to Chris Padavana at Eden Bicycles. Incredible dude, incredible guy, cares so much about our community, does a lot of fundraising and things for our community behind the scenes. Chris donates a lot of bicycles to Billy Bradford, who does the bad business model bicycle thing. And a shout out to Billy Bradford. All politics and whatnot aside, Billy Bradford gets bicycles for free, fixes them up in his spare time, and gives them to people who need them. From one who passionately loves bicycling, that's awesome. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Chris. I'm thanking everybody. It's like a telethon, but it's testament to how awesome our community is, that there are so many great people here in our community. Bob is mentioning if they're going to open all these food places, they're going to need a parking structure. I don't see that happening at the village. I think if there were any more, and the village has done some improvements in the past few years, and I remember the last time they did some of the facade improvements, there was an incredible amount of people who were nonplussed. Is nonplussed the $2 word? I'm giving it to the judges. There were a lot of people who, you're welcome, John. You're welcome. I don't know what I did to be thanked, but you're welcome. There were a lot of people who were not happy with the look of the village changing. And I can understand that because there's a huge affinity for the village really kind of is the center of our community. And it's really got a great vibe to it. It's got a good look, it's got a good feel. It's old school, and some of the improvements were not really met with open arms. I think a lot of people may still be not happy with the fact that a lot of the ivy from the pillars is gone. But with that said, uh, the village has to stay viable, and I can totally. Good evening, Denise. Denise is in the house, giving you a shout out to Denise. Let me give a shout out to Leon as well. Give a shout out to Don. Don Howe, not Don with one bad apple. Guys, I haven't heard back from Don, so maybe he's busy. Maybe he's got other things going on. Hopefully, we will see him and be graced by his wonderful presence soon. But getting back to the village, it's going to evolve. It's going to change. It's for my taste. It still has kind of the old school vibe to it. It still feels the kind of the same. Uh, a lot of the facade improvements I've gotten used to. I think the most recent improvements were outside Ray Talbot Salon and outside Lord's. There's and also outside Nick the Greek. It feels more modern, but it doesn't feel like it's completely lost the kind of old school rustic feel to it. I love the village. I love the shops there. I love the owners of the shops there. There are so many people who like Chris Padavana and Bill Saltzman and Aaron Mimran over at Aaron's Art Studio. They're local people who they're really invested in the community outside of just owning a business and living somewhere else. And that really goes, I don't want to be unfair, that really goes for a lot of Castro Valley, the majority of Castro Valley. We're so lucky to have so many awesome business owners who are local, who love our community. And I'm gonna start preaching about us shopping local again and the importance of doing that. Even though we're emerging sort of from the shelter in place regulations, our businesses still need our support. They still need us. So please, if you can, and I try to be mindful of this too, to shy away from Amazon and shop local as much as I can. If you can, please do so. And I'm gonna go delve even further into my preaching uh, toolbox and mention how important it is for us to reach out to senior citizens in our community, be they be they neighbors or our family members. Reach out to them. Hopefully, a lot of them have been vaccinated and maybe coming out more, going out, doing shopping, but still let them know they are cared for and loved, and don't let them be please don't let them be overlooked. They are so important to us in many ways. And Bob is mentioning stop by Don's store, make sure he's open. I actually saw he was open today. So like I said, he might be busy, but um, if you guys miss Don so much as I do, give him a call or go into the store and give him a friendly reminder that the show is still happening and that we all miss him and we all want him back. Don is awesome. I've known Don for a long time. This dates back to I used to work at the Redwood Road Library lots of years ago, and I first met Don there. And Don's got a huge heart. I met him again. He donated his long hair to the Locks of Love, which I think is a cancer thing. So Don's an awesome guy. He may just be busy with his family and those things, things like that. So, but definitely, Don, if you're listening, we love you, dude. comment and enlighten us with your humor and your wonderful wit and personality. Oh, the number again, if you would like to text, you don't need to call in. That would be okay. It's 510-331-9112. If you have a comment, complaint, confession, a topic that you think we should be talking about, please text in. John is mentioning he will try to go into the store this week. Thank you, John. Laura is saying it's unlike Don to not tune in, and that's totally true. Let me go through the comments, through the thread here and make sure I'm not missing anything here. A lot of people talking about Nick the Greek. I've never tried it, but I hear wonderful things about him. I have friends who are Greek, and they say they're legit, they're true. John is mentioning he has safety vests for the sponsor. That'd be great. There's an email, I think, on the thread if you would like to reach out to them. Yeah, it looks like we're up to speed with all the questions and comments. We're up to speed with the roll call. There's nobody I haven't. Is there anybody that I didn't give a shout out to? Feel free to comment. And again, yes, call or text line is open. 510-331-9112. That is the number. Tiny Homes update off the list. And thank you guys again for your patience while I had to open up my email. Good evening, Janice. Janice is in the house listening. Good evening to you. I hope you are well. Let me take an opportunity here to... this is going to sound snarky. It's going to totally sound snarky. And if it does, I apologize. I was out on my bicycle today, crossing Castro Valley Boulevard on Redwood, and there was a parcel truck driver who unfortunately had to wait for me as I was going through the crosswalk. And she shouted to me, "Why don't you get a car?" Thank you. I have a car. But there are times I choose to ride my bicycle because I love it. That's it. I haven't heard that in years. I used to hear that all the time. Why don't you get a car? Because I'm on a bicycle. Because I love it. Because it's exercise. Anyways, I hope I didn't sound too snarky with that. I probably did. I'm not one of those aggressive jerk bicyclists, but I do have a car. And thank you for your kindness in suggesting that I get a car. Anyways, we're getting close to the end of this show. One more thing that I did want to bring up to you, and this thing I actually have this one prepared. I don't have to go fishing for this. Want to give a shout out to Hans Cho and all the wonderful people at the Lake Chabot Public Market. If you are not aware of the story of the Lake Chabot Public Market, for many years it was empty. It had people breaking in there. There were kids who actually had a skateboard ramp in there, and the building. We all know that the Lake Chabot Public Market looked bad for a while. Hans Cho and his family, local people. Hans grew up in Castro Valley, saw the market looking terrible. Hans and his family invested in that building, brought it up. It looks beautiful. Lake Chabot Public Market, if you don't know where it's at, it's on Lake Chabot Road across from the Community Center Park. They are going to have, grammar police giving me a ticket. They will have, as of this Friday, a new coffee kiosk location. Let me go down a list of words to describe. It's a new coffee kiosk because they have there's booths in the Lake Chabot Public Market. Devout Coffee. They are currently in Fremont, owned by brothers Jonathan Fisher and Stephen Pape, and they will be opening this Friday. So there you go, new coffee spot in town. I am not familiar with the coffee beverages that they purvey, but we posted something about it earlier today, and there were a lot of praises being sung for Devout Coffee. If you like local coffee, if you like good stuff, if you like shopping local and supporting the amazing Lake Chabot Public Market, check them out. They also have a great meat market, meat counter, excuse me. Meat market sounds racy and randy, but they have a great meat counter. They have a lot of Asian food products. They have, there's a ramen place in there. There is, oh boy, I should know this. There's Poke Eatery, I believe, is in there as well. They have the ice cream counter, which is fantastic. I can't think of the name, but definitely check out Lake Chabot Public Market, Lake Chabot Road. Sounds like a commercial, but I want to sing the praises because Hans and his family invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears bringing that building up. If nothing else, just go into the market, and right when you walk in, they have actually framed photos of what the market looked like before they improved upon it, and it's shocking and it's awesome and inspiring how much of a contrast and how much they did to bring that building up. Don is mentioning Devout Coffee. Yes. Don says, and that's Don Howell. That's not Don Scialpi. Don says his daughter says it's thumbs up. So there you go. Karen is saying, laughing out loud at the grammar police. I am funny. She's giving me compliments. Thank you, Karen. I can't wait to see you in person either. It's been too long since I've seen a lot of the people, a lot of the faces that I recognize here. There are people who are on the show every week that I would love to meet in person. I would love to meet Janice. I'd love to meet John in person. And it goes without saying, I would love to meet Bob because Bob is awesome. So with that said, we're here. That's 6 or 7 ums. We're here at the end of the show. Catherine is asking, when is the coffee place going to open up? They are going to open this Friday. So one more time, Devout Coffee will be opening this Friday morning, I believe, at the Lake Chabot Public Marketplace, Lake Chabot Road. Go support them. Go say hello. I'm going to sound like a broken record here. It is remarkable what the Cho family have done to invest in the community by bringing that building up so many levels. It's amazing. Like I said, just go in there and check out the photos that they have framed of what the building looked like before. It looked terrible. It took so much time. It took so many hoops for them to jump through. And I'm being honest here with our local sanitary district, the Castro Valley MAC, the Castro Valley, not the Castro Valley, the Alameda County Planning Department. They went through hoops. They bent over backwards and brought that building up. Otherwise, it may have been demolished. I think there was a church that was interested in opening up there, and the neighborhood pushed back. That's going back quite a few years to that. Denise is saying, is that market on the left side? If you're heading towards Lake Chabot, going up from Castro Valley Boulevard, you are correct. It's on the left side, right across the street from the community center park. And Patty remembers it was a grocery store years ago. I think it was Pasquarelli's, Handy Andy, I think. It was also Tony's, I believe. But with that said, we are here almost rounding at the hour. Bob says he keeps looking for unknowns on bicycles. Bob, you're not going to see me. I'm fast. You're not going to see me. I'm that fast. But hey, guys, thank you guys for tuning in and making this show amazing. This show would be nothing without you guys. I want to, that's serious. The show would be nothing without you guys. You guys keep everything going with bringing up topics. Otherwise, it would probably be an hour of me saying, So you guys are awesome. Be good to yourselves. Be good to your neighbors. Please reach out to seniors. Shop local. That sums it all up. As always, guys, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Thank you. You guys are awesome.